Marcus Chen pressed his palm against the bioscanner beside his quarters aboard the research vessel Meridian, expecting the familiar hiss of pressurizing doors. Instead, he found himself face-to-face with Zainab, the Calorian cultural liaison, wearing nothing but the gossamer thin atmospheric suit that her species considered formal attire. "Zainab," Marcus said, his voice strained as he quickly averted his eyes. "We've talked about this." The tall, ethereal being tilted her head, her translucent blue skin shimmering with confusion. "Have we, Marcus, friend? I do not recall such a conversation existing in my memory banks. This was the 15th time in 3 weeks. Marcus rubbed his temples, feeling the familiar onset of a cultural headache. The Calorian species had evolved on a world where privacy was a foreign concept. Their telepathic ancestors had shared thoughts as easily as humans shared air. Even after millennia of technological advancement had dulled their psychic abilities, the notion of personal space remained as alien to them as their crystalline cities were to humans. "Look," Marcus said, still facing the corridor wall. "On my world, when someone enters another person's private quarters without permission, especially in a state of minimal clothing, it creates problems." Zainab's large opalescent eyes widened with what Marcus had learned to recognize as genuine concern. "Are you experiencing a medical emergency? Should I summon the healing chambers?" "No, it's not." Marcus stopped himself. In the 3 months since first contact with the Calorian Confederation, humanity had learned that direct confrontation often led to misunderstandings that could take weeks to resolve. The Calorians were brilliant scientists, master engineers, and natural diplomats, but they approached every problem through the lens of their collective consciousness heritage. "Zainab," Marcus began again, turning to face her while keeping his gaze fixed on her forehead. "May I ask why you entered my quarters?" "The atmospheric processors in Bay 12 require recalibration," she replied, her melodic voice carrying undertones that the universal translator rendered as urgency. "The Terran modifications to our life support systems are innovative, but they require constant adjustment. Your species' requirement for such precise atmospheric mixtures is fascinating." Marcus felt a familiar swell of pride. That was the thing about first contact situations. They had a way of highlighting just how remarkable humanity was. While other species had evolved in stable, predictable environments, humans had conquered a planet of wild climate variations, developing the ability to thrive in conditions that would kill most other sentient life. "I appreciate that, but couldn't this have waited until I was on duty?" Marcus asked. Zainab's skin shifted to a deeper blue, which Marcus had learned indicated deep thought. "The concept of duty cycles is still challenging for me to integrate. On Caloria, we contribute to the collective when contribution is needed, not according to artificial time divisions." "But I was sleeping." "Yes, I observed this. Your species' requirement for extended unconsciousness periods is remarkable. Calorians require only brief meditation cycles every few rotations." She paused, her head tilting again. "I did not wish to disturb your rest, so I entered quietly to retrieve the atmospheric data directly from your personal terminal." Marcus blinked. "My personal terminal? Zainab, that's private information." "Private?" The concept seemed to physically perplex her. Her skin flickered through several colors: confusion, curiosity, and what the cultural briefings had identified as intense analytical focus. "But the atmospheric data affects the entire ship. How can information vital to collective survival be private?" And there it was, the fundamental disconnect that had been causing problems across all human-Calorian joint ventures. Marcus realized this wasn't just about clothing or personal space. This was about two completely different ways of understanding existence itself. "Zainab," Marcus said carefully, "humans evolved differently than Calorians. We survived by forming small groups with strong bonds, but also by maintaining individual identity and personal boundaries. Privacy isn't just about hiding things. It's about maintaining the individual self that allows us to contribute uniquely to the group." Zainab's skin shifted to a warm golden hue that Marcus had learned indicated fascination. You maintain individual strength to serve collective needs. This is paradoxical, yet efficient. Exactly. But for this to work, we need certain protocols. When you enter someone's private space, especially when they're in a vulnerable state like sleep, it triggers our defensive instincts. Defensive instincts, Zainab repeated, her voice carrying new harmonics. Your species developed survival mechanisms that require personal territory, even within cooperative environments. Marcus nodded. It's not about trust or friendship. It's about respecting the boundaries that help humans function at their best. For a long moment, Zainab stood perfectly still, her skin cycling through colors Marcus didn't recognize. Finally, she spoke. I believe I am beginning to understand. Your species requires individual space to maintain the psychological coherence that enables optimal collective performance. That's actually a pretty good way to put it. And my appearance in minimal atmospheric covering compounds this boundary violation, because Terran psychology has evolved complex responses to reproductive displays. Marcus felt his cheeks warm. Something like that, yes. Zainab's skin shifted. To what Marcus had learned was the Calorian equivalent of a smile. Fascinating. Your species has developed such intricate systems for maintaining both individual identity and group cohesion. No wonder you were able to achieve interstellar travel from such a chaotic planetary environment. Does this mean you understand why I need you to ask permission before entering my quarters? I understand, Zainab said, and I will implement appropriate protocols. But Marcus, friend, I hope you will help me understand more about these remarkable human adaptations. Your species' ability to balance individual needs with collective goals may be exactly what our joint colonies require to thrive. As Zainab gracefully exited his quarters, Marcus couldn't help but smile. Another day, another cultural bridge built between species. It wasn't glamorous work, but moments like these reminded him why humanity's gift for adaptation made them invaluable partners in the galaxy's growing community of worlds. After all, if humans could figure out how to work with beings who didn't understand privacy, they could probably figure out anything.